Welcome to the Migrant Integration Policy Index. My name is Thomas Huddleston, the main author of the study. Global actors often struggle to get the latest data that they need on national integration policies. That's why we've done the Migrant Integration Policy Index, because it provides a benchmark and a database that can be used to assess, compare, and ultimately improve national policies and the European and international standards that exist. Now, the benchmarks that the MIPEX uses to score countries are the objectives on integration. Governments agree them at an international level, but they implement them at a national and then later regional and local level. The EU governments have agreed that comparable rights, responsibilities, and opportunities for all residents should be the core of their work on integration. And we see that governments agree similar objectives when they cooperate together in the Council of Europe, in the UN, in the International Labour Organization. So we use this benchmark of legal integration to see then how legal integration helps to promote societal integration. You can therefore, as an international organization or an international civil society organization, use the MIPEX equality benchmarks to see whether national laws are trying to guarantee immigrants equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities in the 7 policy areas that MIPEX examines. The indicators that we've designed use the existing European and international standards in order to ask comparable questions across countries. So that way, you can see whether countries are really pursuing those objectives to the maximum, whether they're only doing the minimum, or whether they're actually falling behind on those objectives. If you'd like to know more specifically about the standards that we use, go into our website under the About section and click on Methodology to learn about the European and international standards that we use. Now, if you want to see which countries are meeting these international objectives, click on Policies, and then you choose the specific policy area most relevant for your work. For instance, this map shows you the results on anti-discrimination. A 100% score means that there are laws that help all residents to fight discrimination and benefit from equal opportunities. A 0% would mean that there are no laws helping people to bring forward a case of racial, ethnic, or nationality discrimination. The color grading here on this map reflects the scores. If you then want to drill into a specific country's results, click on that country, like the United Kingdom, and look at the section on anti-discrimination. You can then learn more by comparing it to others, say by clicking on Sweden, because MIPEX answers and presents data in a comparable way. As an international actor yourself, you can further investigate why countries score so differently. If you click on MIPEX in use under our About section, you can see examples of that, like the UN Development Programmes analysis, or work by the European Working Conditions Observatory. Countries outside the EU are also being MIPEXed, as this methodology goes global. We use the same international objectives to see whether these countries are guaranteeing immigrants equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities just like their nationals. Because countries of immigration across the world are trying to use a rule of law approach and open legal opportunities for immigrants. To see how Europe compares with other countries, start on this website under Countries and look at Canada and the United States. There you can see how traditional immigration countries use family reunion, naturalization, strong anti-discrimination laws in order to promote integration as a starting point in society. Or read how Switzerland could benefit from a dedicated anti-discrimination law like we see in the EU. Global actors hope that their work can improve people's lives and speed up the integration process. And indeed, MIPEX does find that sometimes international and European standards are effectively used by national actors to inspire change. To see this analysis, go into policies on this website and read about our key findings. For instance, we find that landmark EU anti-discrimination law has consistently improved national law and policies, where in other areas, like family reunion and long-term residence, the EU's minimum standards mean that countries have to respect the minimum, but often they don't go much further in pursuing their integration objectives. You can also see where there are trends that are reshaping policies across Europe and North America. So for instance, we have found two key trends on citizenship being tolerance of dual nationality and adopting birthright citizenship in some way. Now, once you've looked at the overall policy, again you can look at particular country profiles to see which countries are riding these trends and which countries are bucking these trends. You can also search this through our online tool. If you click on Scatterplot, you can see which countries have recently changed their policies, and then go to those countries to see whether international standards or examples from other countries have driven that change. Recommendations from international bodies can be extremely helpful for national actors to use in order to promote change. And MIPEX can help international actors to form their recommendations by identifying a country's areas of policy strength and areas of policy weakness. Now, if you go under the policies, you will see that we present the best case, meaning 100% on the MIPEX scale. This best case is a composite of the national policies that we found in at least one of the 31 countries. So positive change is possible. You can then go to the specific country profiles and review the scores and the text to see which countries match that 100%. You can also then see where a country's individual strengths and weaknesses are, where a country falls low on the MIPEX, where it's falling behind neighboring or similar countries, or where it's falling further behind because of changes. And in fact, international organizations like the European Commission Against Racism and Intolerance uses MIPEX when it does its country-by-country recommendations. There, they can identify weaknesses that must be changed, but they can also identify strengths that should be reinforced and better implemented. So if a country is doing well or even doing better in a certain area, global actors might be able to support these areas of strength. For instance, MIPEX has recently found major improvements with citizenship reform in Greece and Luxembourg, and totally new equality bodies in the Czech Republic, Denmark, and Estonia. If you want future international cooperation to improve integration policies, then think about how MIPEX can be useful in your everyday work. The MIPEX best cases can be used to build a case for new international or European standards. For instance, the Council of Europe's parliamentary body has done that to argue that countries need more measures to promote democratic participation. You can also look at the areas of weakness to argue for new standards. For instance, in 2008, the European Commission told the EU integration ministers that weak political participation and citizenship policies could be improved, and that would lead to better solidarity, democratic participation, and a sense of belonging in society. If you'd like to learn more about how international organizations and civil society are using these standards in MIPEX and results, then go to About MIPEX in Use, and you will see how governments and civil society at international level and at national level are already doing this, from Latvia and Poland to Portugal and Sweden. Final points. Monitoring the transposition or implementation of international standards is a big job for international organizations. Now, MIPEX does not directly monitor the implementation of these standards. What we do is we benchmark whether countries implement these standards in ways to promote more equal opportunities. For instance, we recently saw action on family reunion and long-term residence in countries like Spain and Portugal, where they implemented EU law in ways that led to more equal opportunities. And other countries have done the opposite. If you are particularly interested in monitoring transposition, download all of the data and the MIPEX comments, and you can use that to analyze yourself whether countries have properly transposed a specific standard. If you want to score a specific international standard, you can do so with MIPEX. MIPEX does not itself score these standards to say which is better or worse at promoting integration. But as an advanced user of the MIPEX online tool, you can assess whether high legal standards are set for integration. To do that, click on Improve Your Score, take the text of one of these standards, and change a country's score to meet those standards. The tool will automatically calculate the results on the MIPEX scale, so you can see how ambitious these standards are for integration. If you'd like an example, go under MIPEX in use and look at what MPG did in its impact assessment on family reunion. There we see how the initial proposals for an EU directive were watered down in negotiation, and we show that on the MIPEX scale. If you're interested in how future proposals to modify some of these standards would impact countries, you can also do that with our Improve Your Score feature. Input a proposed change in a policy, and you'll see which countries already have adopted that policy, and you'll also see which countries would most be affected by that change. So we hope that MIPEX can be effective in your work as an international agency or as civil society in order to improve national policies and international standards so that countries can get closer to their common objective of equal opportunities for all.